Let's talk about one of the biggest, most divisive questions in the entire market right now. Tesla. Love 'em or hate 'em, you can't ignore 'em. But the real head-scratcher is the company's value. I mean, is this valuation pure magic, or is it total mania?
It all comes down to this number. Just let it sink in for a second. $1.52 trillion. That's not just a big number. That's a statement. It's a massive, massive bet on the future, and it's exactly what we need to unpack.
So this leads to the big, obvious question, right? How on earth is it possible that one company, Tesla, is worth more than the next 10 biggest car companies all put together? Seriously, how? Well, let's get into it.
Okay, so first things first. To even begin to understand this, we have to look at where all this action is happening, the stock market. And in that world, Tesla is an absolute titan.
Just take a look at this chart. It really says it all. On the left, you've got Tesla's market cap soaring past $1.5 trillion. And on the right, that's the combined value of the next 10 giants. They don't even break 1.1 trillion. It's staggering. One company is worth almost 50% more than 10 of its biggest rivals.
And you know, we're not talking about small-time players here. These are the titans of the auto world. You've got legends like Toyota, General Motors, Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Volkswagen. I mean, these are the companies that basically built the modern car industry over the last century.
And it's not like this valuation is just sitting there. Nope. The stock jumped from around $380 to over $450 in just the last year. That tells you that investors aren't just confident. Their confidence is actually growing.
So what is going on well? It's pretty clear the market isn't just looking at how many cars Tesla sells today. Investors are buying into a vision, a story about what the future of, well, everything might look like. But that's only half the story.
All right, let's step away from the dizzying heights of the stock market for a second and get back down to earth. Let's talk about what these companies actually do. You know, build and sell cars. And this, my friends, is where the story takes a very, very strange turn.
You know, Shankar Iyer, who's the source for these numbers, put it perfectly. He called Tesla a Lilliput, remember from Gulliver's Travels? The idea is that this financial giant, this titan of the market, suddenly shrinks to a tiny size when you look at how many cars it actually gets on the road. And this picture just drives the point home, doesn't it? On one side, you've got Tesla's output, and on the other, you have the competition. The difference is just, well, it's not even a competition. They're playing in two completely different leagues. And the raw data is even more shocking. In 2025, Tesla sold about 1.64 million cars. Now that is an amazing number for one company, no doubt. But the other 10 giants? Together, they sold over 42 million cars. Think about that. For every single car Tesla sold, the old guard sold more than 25.
Okay, so Tesla sells way fewer cars, but maybe, just maybe, they make up for it with revenue, right? Maybe their cars are just so much more profitable that the money tells a different story. Well, let's do a reality check.
And that same analyst, Shankar Iyer, has another great word for us. If Tesla is a Lilliput in sales, he says it's a pygmy when it comes to revenue. Another powerful image that really hammers home this massive disconnect we're seeing.
And yep, the revenue numbers pretty much mirror the sales numbers. Tesla brought in around $117 billion. Impressive stuff, but it just gets dwarfed by the $1.68 trillion that the other 10 companies pulled in. That's billion with a B versus trillion with a T.
This image of a tiny stack of cash next to a tidal wave of money is just the perfect metaphor. Tesla's revenue, while huge, is really just a drop in the ocean compared to the financial might of the legacy automakers. When it comes to cash flow, they're not even on the same planet.
So there you have it. This is the great Tesla paradox. On one side, you have a stock market valuation that seems to defy all logic, and on the other, you have sales and revenue numbers that are just a tiny fraction of the competition's. So, how do we make sense of this? How do we square this circle?
Well, the absolute key to understanding this whole thing is to remember what market capitalization really is. It is not a report card on how a company is doing today. Instead, think of it as a giant, collective bet from millions of people on how that company is going to do in the future.
And what are investors betting on? They're looking way past the car factory. They see total dominance in electric vehicles, sure, but also in energy storage with things like the Powerwall. They're betting on Tesla's lead in artificial intelligence to crack self-driving, and they're even betting on things like the Optimus robot to completely change the game of labor itself. That is the vision they're buying into.
So this table really just puts the whole conflict in black and white. You look at market cap, and Tesla is the undisputed king of the world. But then you look at the actual real-world metrics, like how many cars are sold and how much money comes in, and it tells a totally different story. The numbers aren't lying, they're just telling two completely different stories at the exact same time.
Which brings us right back to where we started. What is this valuation? Is it magic, a genius bet on a future that the rest of us just can't see yet? Or is it mania, a massive bubble that's completely disconnected from reality? That, right there, is the trillion-dollar question. And for now, it's the bet that everyone is watching.